Hey, this is Ralph. In this video, I want to enhance our loan amortization schedule for a car loan so that if we make extra payments throughout the loan, it'll automatically zero out our amortization table, maintaining accuracy. Created this great amortization table, and we can plug in extra payments, but the problem is if we plug in our extra payments, we start to get to points to where we go into negatives for that ending balance. And you know what? To make this thing even easier to look at, I'm just going to click right up here in this cell. I'm going to go to View, Freeze Panes, Freeze Panes. So now when I scroll down, I can easily see that top column or that top row up there, and we'll have those labels. We definitely don't want our ending balance to ever go below zero because that means we paid too much. And if our ending balance is zero, we definitely don't need a beginning balance, and we don't need to be making any payments, extra payments, and things like that. So let's go and get to work. And it doesn't matter where we start. However, it can make our life a little bit easier if we start with some certain columns. I'm going to start with beginning balance, and I'm going to click and work with the first one that goes to negative, and then we can autofill down and up so that everything is working and accurate for the rest of the rows. Instead of my beginning balance, which is currently just equal to the previous ending balance, I'm going to change that to if. If my previous ending balance to my working balance, if my previous ending balance is less than or equal to zero, then I want my beginning balance for that next month to be zero. Otherwise, my beginning balance is going to be the same as the previous ending balance. Close that, and now we can see that zeroes out, and if I autofill that down, the remaining are zero. And the cool thing is if I take this and autofill it up all the way up to the top, in fact, I'll just go to my second row, not my very first row. Everything is the same because those have positive ending balances. So now that gets zeroed out. Great. Now, if my beginning balance is less than or equal to zero, well, I don't want to be making a calculated payment anymore, so that's not good. So equals if my beginning balance for that month is less than or equal to zero, of course I could have just done equal to zero, well then my calculated payment is also going to be zero. Otherwise, my calculated payment is going to be equal to, I could have it equal to the cell just above it, or I'm going to go back to my original calculator here, and I'll click on that one, pressing F4 to make it absolute. So it's going to be equal to that calculated payment from my original calculator. Closing parentheses, press enter, autofill that down, click on that cell, and I'm going to autofill it all the way up to my second row. All right, I'm quite content with that. Now, of course, if that's the case, if my calculated payment is zero, then I won't have any extra payment. So I'm going to change my, oh, actually, there it is. There's my extra payment right over there. So equals if my calculated payment for that particular row is less than or equal to zero. I'll just keep doing less than or equal to zero just to be consistent. Well, then my extra payment is going to be zero. Otherwise, my extra payment can be equal to the cell just above it. Close that one. There we go. I'm going to autofill it down. So that gets it zeroed out. I'll click on that cell and again, autofill it all the way up to the second row. And now that we see everything is zeroed out, it's going to be pretty accurate. I know I've got that little negative up there. We'll get to that soon enough. But this is a very accurate calculation, which means we should be able to go up to our extra payment. And let's see, the first one, let's say instead of making $100 a month extra payment, what if it's $240 a month extra? That, of course, increases our total payment. And if I mouse down, we will get to a point to where we just go into the negatives, but everything else is pretty accurate. Even our total interest is going to be accurate. Remember, our total interest is displayed up here from that previous video. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. You know, one other quick thing we can do, instead of displaying month 1, month 2, month 3, and things like that, I'll just put in a 1, and then the next month can be equal to +1. That looks pretty good. Make sure I get that centered. And then I'll just autofill this all the way down. Cool, pretty happy with that. And then we can do something like this. Equals If the previous ending balance is less than or equal to 0, well then my month is going to change out to 0. Otherwise, it's going to be equal to the previous month plus 1. Then I can autofill that down, zero those out, click on the one that I just edited, and I'll autofill that all the way up to the second row. Everything is good there. And you think, all right, well, what's the big deal? What was so great about that? Well, now that we have that zero out, we can start to display when we have paid off our loan in a number of months. I'll go back to this month label, change that out to equal concatenation. I'll display month, and then I'll put in something like payoff equals quotation, comma, the max of this range of cells, and then closing parentheses, comma, quotation, space, months, quotation, closing parentheses for the concat function, enter. There we go. So now our payoff is in 38 months. If I want to put another space around that equal sign, we can handle that pretty easily. There we go. So our payoff is 38 months. If we did $400 a month extra payment, then that's going to reduce everything, and our payoff is going to be in 30 months. Perfect. Now, well, close to perfect anyway. We still have this issue to contend with. This can be a little bit tricky, so let's tackle this in another video. Thanks.